welcome to the next educational video. In the last video, I'm discussed about the division 1 under the classification of the kingdom Protista. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the division 2 under the classification of kingdom Protista. The division 2 is called a slime molds. The slime molds are a consumers and the decomposers protists. So they're helpful for the decomposition of the dead matter. So they gets the nutrition from the dead matter. They show the characteristic features of the plant, that is, they consist of the cellulose, cell wall, and they have a spores, such as in case of plants. And they shows the characteristic features of the animals, that is phagotropic. So they are able to engulf the entire organism as a food, that is the phagotrophic. And they shows the characteristic features of the fungi, that is they're able to develop a spores. Till now, the 500 species have been identified under the slime molds, out of which the 77 species have been reported from the India. As I said, they are consumers and decomposers. They live on a decaying organic matter in both a terrestrial and aquatic habitat. So these are the two habitats in which the slime molds will live, on the dead or the decaying matter. Almost they choose the moist area. The slime molds are very sensitive to the penicillium, which is one of the antibiotic. During their vegetative phase, they occurs in a slimy mass, so that's why the name slime molds. The protoplasm of the slime molds is differentiated into two portions, that is the outer portion and central nucleated portion, that is the outer enucleated hyaloplasma and the central nucleated portion. The enucleated portion and the nucleated portion. It has a contractile fibrils and a cytoplasm. Not only that, it also includes the organelles which are present in the eukaryotic cell, but except plastids. So plastids are not present in slime molds. The mass of multinucleated protoplasm is called a plasmodium. Sometimes the protoplasm are combined together to form a mass, so that is called a plasmodium. So the plasmodium shows a amoeboid movement because there will be a presence of the locomotory organ, that is a pseudopodia. So that pseudopodia helps for the movement of the uh, organism which does not have any shape actually. So that is the plasmodium. The plasmodium consists of the large granules of colored pigments such as anthracene, so which gives the different colors such as a white, yellow, gray, red, brown, etc. to the plasmodium. There are generally saprophytes, except a few are parasites. For example, they're parasites on algae, fungi, and flowering plants. Some are saprophytes. They're dependent on the dead or the decaying matter for the development and for the nutrition consumption. They sometimes absorb the food by engulfing the entire organism. So that method is called a phagotrophic method, or it is, in other words, it is called a holozoic. So which is one of the characteristic features of the animals, and the digestion takes place in vacuoles. The asexual reproduction of the slime mold is by the fragmentation and by the formation of sporangia. So under the dry condition, this is the dry, so they chooses a dry condition for the asexual method of reproduction. The asexual method of reproduction is carried out by the fragmentation and by the formation of the sporangia. For example, this is the slime mold. So this is the slime mold which in dry condition resulting in the formation of the fragments. So it is divided into fragments, so becomes fragments. So these are the small fragments. So these small fragments are further developed into an entire organism. So this is a new slime mold. These fragments are able to develop an entire slime mold. This is all about the fragmentation and the formation of the sporangium. So for example, this is the slime mold. There will be a formation of the sporangium on the slime molds. The sporangium produces the spores. So these spores are further developed into a new slime mold. The plasmodium transferred into a several stalked sporangia. So it is able to transfer into a several stalked sporangia and develop into an entire organism. Or in other case, the plasmodium may convert into a single large sporangium, that is called ethelium. So it can develop into a single large sporangium called ethelium. So they are usually spherical shaped, oval shaped, and cylindrical shape, as we can already know that. So the sporangia is surrounded by the a wall-like layer that is called the peridium. That is one of the layer around the sporangia. So the meiosis occurs in the sporangium, results in the production of the haploid spores. So the meiosis occurs, which is a reduction division which occurs in the sporangia. So the haploid spores are produced. So the walls of the spores are made up of the cellulose, or sometimes in some other organisms it is made up of galactosamine. A part of the protoplasma of the sporangia is developed into a thread-like structure called a capillitium. So it develops into a thread-like structure. Only the part of the protoplasm of the sporangia is able to develop into a thread-like structure. That thread-like structure is called a capillitium. So it helps to disperse the spores while rupturing. So spore is nothing but it is one of the survival strategy in unfavorable condition of the any organism. So that capitulum is helps to burst or to disperse the spore while rupturing. So it can breaks the spore while rupturing. The spores germinates and produces either amoeboid mixamoeba or flagellated small cells. This is all about the asexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction is by the fusion of haploid cell resulting in a diploid cell. Okay, we already know that. So which develops into a new large plasmodium. So this is the picture shows the life cycle of the plasmodium, that is both asexual and sexual methods. You can see in the picture here, this is an older plasmodium which develops into a sporangia. That sporangia is further developed into a sporangium. That sporangium, this is the stalk-like structures that is called a sporangium. That sporangium produces the spores. Inside the sporangium, the reduction division, that is a meiosis, takes place. So the spores are produced are haploid. So the spores are germinated. The germinated spores are, if they are different kinds, they're fused together. So that if the germinated spores are the different kinds, they're fused together to form a zygote, that is a diploid cell, which is developed into a new plasmodium. This is the new germinating plasmodium. So this is the sexual reproduction. The asexual reproduction, sometimes the germinated spores are developed into a mixamoeba. So this is a mixamoeba or the swarm cells. That swarm cells is can able to develop into a new plasmodium. That plasmodium is converted into older, then the cycle repeats. The important note to be considered, the term plasmodium is used in different contexts with the different references. For example, in slime molds, it's the wallness and multinucleated protoplasma. In case of slime molds, the plasmodium means it is the mass of a multinucleate protoplasm. And in case of protozoans, it is referred as a pathological animal. The third division under the classification of the kingdom Protista is a protozoan protists. So this includes all the eukaryotic unicellular animals. So these are all the unicellular, only single cell is present. There are around 5,000 of known species are identified under the protozoan protist group. So either they found in the fresh water or in case of marine water. So they found both in moist area. Almost they are present in the moist places. Some are parasitic. They causes diseases to the other plants or the hosts. In most of the protozoans, the cytoplasm is differentiated into outer ectoplasm and inner endoplasm. So these are the two parts of the cytoplasm of the protozoans. In most of the protozoans, the cytoplasm is differentiated into the outer ectoplasm and the inner endoplasm. So the body of the protozoans, like amoeba, so amoeba is one of the examples for the protozoa, which is covered by the very thin plasma membrane, so which does not offers any shape, any definite shape for the organism. That's why the amoeba does not have any shape. So in that condition, for the movement, the pseudopodia helps for the locomotion of the organism. So pseudopodia is present in amoeba, which is helpful for the locomotion of the amoeba. Some of the protozoans have the tough pellicle and covered shell, such as a calcareous shell, so that provides the definite shape. So they have a locomotory organ such as a flagella in case of euglena, and hair-like cilia in case of paramecium, and shapeless pseudopodia, as I said, in case of amoeba. These are also have the osmoregulation to maintain the water balance in them. So in the fresh water, the protozoan's protoplasm is hypotonic when compared to the fresh water. So the water enters in by the endosmosis. So this is what happens when the protozoans are hypotonic and they are present in the marine water. The excess water is eliminated by the osmoregulatory organelles such as the contractile vehicles. These are, as I said before. So this is how exactly the osmoregulation takes place in protozoans. Not all the protozoans are photosynthetic and parasites. There are holozoic and saprophytes. So they can get the nutrition from the dead matter, or they can engulf the entire organism as a food. There is no specialized excretory or respiratory organs are present in case of protozoans. It only happens to the surface of the body. It is by the diffusion. The reproduction of the protozoan is by the two methods, that are asexual methods and the sexual methods. We all know that asexual method is by the binary fission, for example in case of paramecium, and the multiple fission, such as in case of entamoeba. The binary fission is nothing but if the parental cell is divided into two equal cells, that is called the binary fission. If the parental cell is divided into a multiple cells, that is called the multiple fission. The sexual reproduction takes place by the fission of the gametes, as in case of plasmodium, that or it is by the conjugation, such as in case of a paramecium, that is the fusion of the two different strains to form the entire different strain. Next, see the classification of division 3. The division 3 is classified into four classes, that is the first class, that is Rhizopoda, the second class, that is Mastigophora, the third class, that is a Ciliates, the fourth class, that is a Sporozoa. Let's see about the first class, that is a Sarcodina or Rhizopoda. It is because they consist of the locomotory organ pseudopodia, hence the name Rhizopoda. So if the organism consists of the pseudopodia, they belongs to the group of Sarcodina or Rhizopoda. For example, amoeba, entamoeba histolytica, which is one of the parasites which causes the amoebiosis in case of humans. The next second class is the Mastigophora or zooflagellated, because the locomotory organ present in them is a flagella. So which are all the organisms consist of a flagella as a locomotory organ, so they are classified under the Mastigophora or zooflagellate. For example, trypanosoma, gambins, and which causes the sleeping sickness, so which is spread by the stay fly. The third class is the Ciliates. So hence the locomotory organ is a cilia here, which is an air-like projection. For example, in case of paramecium. The fourth class under the division 3 is Sporozoans. Of course, the locomotory organ is absent here. If the locomotory organ is absent in any organisms, that is called the Sporozoans. So which are parasitic in nature. For example, plasmodium, so which causes malaria, which is spread through female Anopheles mosquito. This is the picture shows the some of the example for the division 3. So that is amoeba, so which have a locomotory organ, that is pseudopodia, which is shapeless. Then euglena, which have a flagella. Then paramecium, which have a cilia, this is the hair-like structures. Then plasmodium, this is also have a pseudopodia, which is one of the locomotory organ, which is also a shapeless. This is all about the classification regarding with the kingdom Protista. I hope you understood, and thank you for watching. Hi friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel and also press a bell icon to never miss an educational video.